Hello and welcome, I'm Anet A8, and in this episode we're going to be installing the Raspberry Pi into the V3 printer. So this time we are going to put this Raspberry Pi board, this is the one with the SD card which we have formatted in the previous episodes, into this 3D printer, the Vector 3, close to my heart, near and dear and all that stuff. We needed to get this off of Amazon. If you can see that on the screen, that is a board that takes the power from this power supply, goes through this board, it takes the voltage down to 5 volts and it goes out through here, which is the USB plug on the other side. Now the USB plug on the other side looks a bit damaged actually, so we'll take a look at that and see if that is actually proper damaged or not. It's definitely bent down a bit. I think with some pliers maybe we could probably just pull that up a little bit and it should be fine. I reckon it'd be alright. Yeah, so it's been disassembled already. We have the power supply here. This is still plugged into the main board. And the plug is awkward to get to. So I'm not going to unplug it from here. So we're going to do this whole thing on an awkward basis, and an awkward scale. So I mean, you can take this part off here. This is the plastic that surrounds the prongs and stuff. And there is voltage pluses, voltage minuses here. You've got ground and all that stuff, which goes to the main plug. These two wires go out to the power board. These two come in from here, which is the power socket, which goes to the wall. So now we need these two bits on here. I'm not sure. Here we go. Ground and V in. So V minus and V plus. You just do another 2 cables like that. They'll go into these two here, and that will convert a power signal down to 5 volts, which will be fine for us to put into the Raspberry Pi. Now I do want to test that signal first before I put it into the Raspberry Pi, just in case it is not 5 volts, which means it would blow my Raspberry Pi up, and that is not worth risking. So definitely do that if you have the ability to. I'll put a link to this actual part in the description below. I think it was around about £5 off Amazon for like next day delivery kind of thing, which is always nice when you want to get these components pretty quickly if you can get them the next day. So yeah, I'll be back in a second. I'm just going to get some cables and then I'll attach them in here and attach them to this little board here. Okay, so I've got 2 bits of wire here. I've got red and white. Now standard code, I believe, says that live is red, so positive is red, and negative is black. But I don't have any black wire, so I'm going to use white instead, just because it's the polar opposite. So yeah, maybe that makes more sense. I had blue as well. On here it actually has blue as the live going into the AC. Now I'm guessing this is color corrected or color coded or whatever, as it should be. So I'm just snipping the ends off these cables. These are some pretty good cables actually. I'm not sure where they're from. My friend gave them to me because he had some spare. So here are the cables that I'm using at the moment. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use a soldering iron to try and solder the wires to this board here. As you can see on the back, it says ground and V in. V in obviously being voltage in, and it has a plus next to it, so it's obviously the positive voltage in. So yeah, I'll solder the red wire to the V in and the white one to the ground. Okay, so I'm not sure if any of that was actually in focus. It probably wasn't. But here we have a little board with the USB stick on the end of it. Both parts are soldered together. So we have the 2 wires. I gave them quite a bit of length because I wasn't sure where I wanted to put this thing. I might even try at some point to make a mount inside so that this can be plugged or so this could be positioned somewhere so that it's more of a permanent fixture, so it doesn't rattle about in the case if you shake it. So yeah, that is what I want to do probably in the long run. For now, I'm just going to bang it in there and hope for the best that it all kind of works. So yeah, next up I will connect these to the box. Now this little flap here, that kind of just like snaps up, and it's fine. It's fine, and it's supposed to do that. These are crosshead screws, so we need a crosshead screwdriver. So raise the plus and the minus up. Remember, ground also is negative, so on here ground will go to negative. And now we have a USB port connected to the power supply. All we need to do is turn it on. We'll do a quick test to make sure that it's working as it should be, and then we can connect the Raspberry Pi. I want to check the voltage first because I don't want to blow the Raspberry Pi up, so I'm just going to go get a voltage tester and then I will be back. Okay, so I've got my voltmeter here. I have the printer, it's plugged in here. So now I'm going to turn it on and see how it goes. So hopefully it don't blow up. It didn't blow up, it turned on, there is sound. Oh, I did replace that fan. This little board here has a red light coming from it, as you can see. So hopefully that's a good sign. On the bottom here there's 4 pins. You can put one on the far left, one on the far right, and if you can hold them both there, you get roughly 5, maybe 0.2 ish volts. So hopefully that should be around about right, and that should be safe to plug the Raspberry Pi into. So let's plug it in and see how it goes. Okay, now so for the moment of truth, let's pull this camera out a little bit and we'll move it up a bit more. So we have all the wires out here. We want to make sure everything works. We want to plug this directly into the Pi. Now this is either going to be spectacular good or really, really bad. We have 2 lights on the Pi. These 2 lights will light up when the power is provided and it's the correct amount. So plugged it in, and the 2 lights on the Pi are on, and they're flashing. I mean, that means they're good. They're good to go. I have to be careful with this because I did cut some wires on this table earlier, and there's loads of tiny copper fragments like this. They can be catastrophic to chipboards like this because they can bridge connections and cause large issues, very large issues. So now we know that this works. Let's put it all back together and we'll see how it looks and if it works the way it should be. Bear in mind we have actually tested this outside of this printer, so we know that we can connect to it and we know that it should be good. We have the cable here, the little block here. This is what we'll plug from one of the power USBs from here into there, which supplies the printer with the information. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it really. Okay, so here we have the plus and minus cable here. So what I'm going to do is I'll plug one end of this into the printer, the other end into the Raspberry Pi board. Now that should connect the printer up. It's pretty safe enough to put away now actually. I'm just going to put these back into the case so it's as if it was like a normal printer without the extras added on. Okay, welcome back. So I have now secured my power supply in by like 1 or 2 screws or so. We have the Raspberry Pi here, the really nice looking Raspberry Pi. The power supply here. So what you want to do is you want to plug the Raspberry Pi in. So we plug it in here like that. We have this little socket here. We'll plug this plug into that, and now that goes into the Raspberry Pi through the USB port. There are 2 other things that I have in this printer which can go into the Raspberry Pi. Now one of them is this USB. This is the camera which I added to it ages ago. if you want to add a camera to your Raspberry Pi, check out the video that I did previously on this. It was a bit of a bodge, as is most of the stuff that I do on here, especially for this printer. But you know, it works, so it's always good. And then that one there is to the light, which is at the front as well. So there's a little light panel, and that panel is in there, and it lights it up so that if you're recording at night, you can still see everything. So I'm going to put the Raspberry Pi on this side so that it's far away from all other electronics and chipboards and stuff. I'm just going to try and force it in there in a way in which hopefully it won't be disturbed. So yeah, put this down here, just down here. I want, especially for the bare electronics, you want to make sure that they do not get touched, and that they do not have any possibility to touch other bare electronics, because that could be potentially fire causing and could pose quite an issue in the future. So yeah, all that seems to be plugged in now. All we need to do is just drop this little bit in. You could screw that back on if you want. I'm not going to screw it on just yet because obviously I want to make sure it all works first. But yeah, if you have full confidence in what you've just done, screw it in once you're ready. I'll stick the wheel back in, turn it around, and now we have this neat unit. And oh man, it has the Raspberry Pi in it. So let's do this. There we go. So as you can see, it doesn't look perfect, not by a long shot, but you know, we have all these bits of wires dangling down from here or whatever, but you know, we bodged this together in the nicest and the best way. It has a new print head on it. I don't know if you saw my last video where I installed this onto it, and that's an aftermarket one. I had to solder some wires together or whatever, but we got that in. It seems to heat up a lot quicker than the previous one, which is nice. This one unit here is all a self-contained printer. So we'll plug the wire in the back, we'll switch it on. The lights are on, the power is there. We now have the printer set up with OctoPrint. With the Raspberry Pi inside it, there is just one power cable going to it, and there is no need for any other cables going to this. This is now a fully functional Wi-Fi printer. Now I can just bang this lid back on. And there we go. All in one nice little unit like this. Now, I mean, it's taken a lot of time and a lot of effort to actually get it to the stage, but now we should be able to print again with this, and it should be no extra hassle on our cost. We should be able to use the online portal and connect to it through, as I named it, Bruce, I believe, yeah. And yeah, this should be nice, should be good to go. I think the online portals are a lot better. Some people opt to like try and put a screen in down here or whatever. I don't think there's a point if you're going to use the online portal, because I'll be looking at the online portal more than I would be looking at the screen in front of the printer, just to check the stats and stuff like that. But yeah, this is this. There will be probably one or maybe two more episodes on this printer, in which I will try and configure it so that we can get the print quality as good as possible. And I'll also configure all the back end and everything like that. So yeah, I'll go through that with you guys, so that if you're doing this as well at the same time, you can install OctoPrint onto your printer. If you need any help, as always, leave a comment in the section below. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't anything, follow me on Twitter, that's @NEJE, and thanks for watching.
Wow.